Yeah, okay, I'll talk about this one because then it'll make everything else make more sense. Because if I just jump into like pyramids on Mars, you're gonna be like, bro, what are you saying right now? So I'm gonna bring it down to like something that we found. Did you see the pyramid thing? What
Yes.
they just found?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, what are we doing out here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't tell me that was made by stone tools. And you can't tell me that that was made by people 12,000 years ago who didn't have our advanced level of mathematics and like machinery.
Sure. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, unless you're like, oh, maybe, da, 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 da. But like, from my perspective, I'm like, this is talking about aliens right now, bro. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, if it's true. Yeah.
I think it's, what do you mean if it's true? You think that's a lie? You think the whole thing's
No,
a
no, no,
lie?
no, no. I'm not saying it's a lie. No, no, no. I'm saying it's still not peer reviewed.
Okay, fair, but like,
Because the one I was watching
it's looking
was
at, like, yeah,
yeah. No, no. She was saying that this the person that I was watching was like this could change a lot of things, but like we still need to be peer reviewed. Like it's
fair. Yeah, totally. But
yeah,
you're seeing something, you're like, dude, that's kind of weird.
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
little weird.
sure, yeah.
Yeah. So, one thing that, and now let's go into conspiracy theories, because now that we've said that, now it's like I can tell you other things, because like that is like the smoking gun. You with because like that makes no sense. There's no way we could have made that. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, stone tool. Yeah, they just like pulled it up. Remember, like everyone like they just pulled the bricks up, and like people are like, well, how'd they get it over through the quarry? Yeah, totally. They just like floated it down the river. Yeah, I could buy all that stuff. Totally. Yeah, we shaved it down. People were so, but like when you're talking about 650 meters underground,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost a
Yeah.
kilometer. Like that's over half a kilometer
Mm-hmm.
under. Like what? How'd you do that, bro? And then they're saying at the base there's like square structures. So you're
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. Like
okay, that's even
columns.
weirder, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
columns that lead to square, columns that are equally divided that are at the bottom of square structures. So what they're saying is, if you go to Cambodia, which is crazy because like when Tierra and I went on that like 2016 trip, we went to like all these crazy places that I've always wanted to see, and like so we've been to Egypt, we've been to Cambodia and stuff, and um, Billy Carson was saying that the same techniques were used in Cambodia um, as Egypt, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. But
Mm-hmm.
then now I'm seeing from other people aside from her that like they are noticing similar architecture styles between those two. But it's like, how did you share the information then? You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you all right, so obviously like you must have traveled the earth, but then like how do you have enough ability to like create that thing? You know what I mean? Like that just makes no sense. I mean, six like over half a kilometer underground and it's on a pillar. So what a lot of people were saying is that um, before this was that the pyramids are not actually tombs; they're energy like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
nuclear power
yeah,
plants. Remember,
yeah.
and like so much evidence points to it. The way the shafts are small, they're not meant for people to crawl through. They're actually just meant to like shoot energy through. That's why when like I was crawling through the shaft in the pyramid when me and Tara were in there, and she was getting claustrophobic, and I was like, yeah, like the hair must have been really short back then or something. Like how like but then
Yeah,
it's like
but
when you right? It's like,
yeah.
dude, I'm like gosh, I'm like, why, how are you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm,
why are you
mm-hmm,
doing
mm-hmm.
this? But then people were like, it was used as like a power plant, so it made sense that those were actually like where the energy was shooting out of, and we are just calling through them now. But then other like more contemporary Egyptians found it and they're like, oh, let's turn this into a tomb. So like it would be like us leaving our nuclear power plant later in the future and then people finding it and be like, oh, this is a tomb. But it's like, no, we use that for like power, bro. You
Mm-hmm.
know, same
Sure.
idea. And
Yeah.
and with the columns going into the ground, because what they were saying, I heard this before, but I was like, I don't know, that's real. So what they're saying is the water was underground. There was water underground, and they were using that water to generate electricity,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what the conspiracy theorists. Well, they're not really conspiracies. They're like alternative thinkers, right? And then he was like explaining how he knows this, whatever, whatever. And then hearing that there are columns that go down half a kilometer into like a square structure, I'm like, maybe they did use like water turbines to like create electricity. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because that sounds pretty logical. We do that now with like the Niagara Falls. There's like a wheel that spins or something because of the water, you know, and that generates
Well, that's what
electricity.
the dam is for. But yeah.
Yeah, that's what dams for, right? So they're like, okay, is that what you actually did? You know?
Hmm.
So, okay. And then they're saying that in Antarctica that there are three pyramids just like the pyramids of Giza. And again, I was like, I don't know. That sounds crazy, bro. And like other people, scientists were like, yeah, but those are just like natural man-made those are natural mountains formations. We're just like confusing them with pyramids using satellite photos. Nobody's been there. It's like it's a weird area,
Hmm.
like hard to get to, but they saw it on satellites. So it's like, are you sure? You know what I mean? Like the scientists are like, yeah, that's just a mountain that looks like a pyramid, but it's nicely identical to the way that the Giza pyramids are set up. So I'm like, were they sending power? Because like that's what allegedly the pyramids were. They were like power plants. They were sending power around the world, and we had like electricity, or I don't know, maybe electricity, I don't know, but we had like
Sure.
power circulating the globe. Remember, I was telling you about this before, and like the obelisks were like how they captured the power. That's
Hmm.
why the obelisks were all around the world too,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And it's like that sounded crazy, but now with this, you're just like, could be now, because like we don't know anything, you know?
Hmm.
Wait, what do you think?
Yeah, yeah. No, it'll be, yeah. As I said, right, if it's proven to be 100% true, yeah, it's crazy finding.
Right, bro, what are we talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay, ready for this one? Life on Mars.
Hmm.
So, there is Joe McMoneagle. I don't think I brought this up to you before because I thought you'd think I was crazy. I was like, that's like, it's too out there. I don't want to tell you this one because like, it's too weird.
Sure.
So, he, so the way remote viewing works is I have a target in my pocket and I don't tell you anything about the target. I'm just like, can you remote view? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then in order to not bias you, I'm just taking your feedback.
Hmm.
So it's like you'll be like, I'm seeing like this or like this and this, right? But you don't know what the thing you're looking at is. That way it becomes like I'm just taking your like raw data. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like it's like I know what it is, but you don't know what it is.
Hmm.
So you're just telling me what you're viewing. So he said, like, yeah, I'm seeing these people like in an enclosure. It looks like a pyramid. Did you guys find some new pyramids or something? And like, we can't tell you. Just keep going, Joe. And they're like, all right, cool. I'm seeing this. It's like, oh, but they're dead now. They're waiting for like people to come back or something and like whatever. And then he found out later that he was remote viewing Mars a million years in the past. Okay, this guy is the best remote, number one remote viewer. He's won the Legion of Merit for his work. He found Hunt for Red October. He's like, point your cameras in this direction, and they did, and they saw the submarine that the Russians were making, and they're like, what the hell? Like he's so good, right? So when I heard him, and I actually bought the book because I was like, okay, I need to see what you said, because he put the remote view of Mars in his book. So with that, I'm like, okay, there's something there. And then in the podcast with American Alchemy, Jesse Michaels, this has never been seen before, but he showed pictures from JPL. You know JPL,
Yeah.
Jet Propulsion Lab. I never heard of it before. I heard like kind of, but like, I don't know what that is. But okay. So,
You've seen it before in movies.
oh really? Like what movie? Mars?
The Martian.
Martian? Oh, okay. Cool, cool. That makes sense. So what are you saying is that their satellite, they're actually scanning all Mars, right?
Hmm.
So you can uh you can go to them and like ask for specific photos
Hmm.
or something because like public, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So the thing in the pocket that he was remote viewing were coordinates. So he's like, okay, a million years in the past, Mars, this makes no sense. So he goes to JPL and he's like, here, I have these coordinates. Can I get the pictures from this? And then the guy looks at it. He's like, oh yeah, the old city of Mars. And he's like, what? City on Mars? I'm like, yeah, we all know about it. So he said it's like an open secret in JPL that they know that there was life on Mars. There's like structures that are obviously not there. And again, I'm like, that sounds crazy, bro. And then he showed photos, and then he's like, yeah, thank you, Jesse Michaels, for being amazing. He went to his house and he's like, can I see those photos? And then Joe McMonaugle's like, yeah, for sure, I got them on my laptop. And they're just going through the photos, and he's like, yeah, this doesn't look man-made at all. He's like, this is this like it's just the right angles are just you don't see right angles in nature. you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
and like straight lines, you know. So like when he was looking at the structures, it's like so undeniable. To me, I'm like, did you really get that from JPL? Because those are crazy. Like they're so evidently not real, you know, not naturally formed, right? So, anyways, that happened, and then the next episode was Jesse Michaels talked about this guy who believed that there was a nuclear disaster on Mars, and like there's a civilization, they had a nuclear war. And that's why it got wiped out. Because when the nuclear blast went off, we think about like, oh, nuclear bombs are going to destroy our cities and stuff, right? What it does is it pushes the atmosphere out. And when it does that, then you have a cold planet.
Hmm.
So theoretically, like why Mars has no atmosphere, he was saying it's like the signatures, the radiation, it's all giving like you'd only find those after a nuclear blast, right? So what he was saying is that those pyramids on Mars that people can see, um, Joe McMoneagle theoretically, if his remote viewing is correct, was they were hiding in the pyramids to like wait out the storm, but they died because they ran out of resources. Like it was just too long,
Hmm.
and nobody came to save them.
Right.
All right, those are two scientists who, well, one's a remote viewer, an actual scientist, and then I was listening to Deepak Chopra, and he said. Like the newest one, he was just talking about like spirituality and stuff, and he just said this off the cuff, and I
Hmm.
was like, guys, you need to listen to what he just said there. He's like, yeah, I was just talking to this MIT professor, and she's like totally convinced that there's life on Mars. Yeah, we see like structures and stuff. And I was like, well, guys, hold on. Because that lines up with Joe McMoneagle and the other dude and Deepak Chopra. You're talking to MIT scientists about this. What the hell's going on? And we just found that there are pyramids that have like 6 columns underneath that we probably couldn't make. And this all makes me go back to when I was going down the spiritual rabbit hole, spirit science. So there's a YouTube channel called Spirit Science. I used to watch it all the time. And there's one like called Life on Mars. And the theory was, but maybe he was just ahead of his time. Maybe he read all these books and he just like advanced, right? And we all thought he was crazy. He was saying that there was life on Mars. Their planet was dying. So they seeded our planet. And that's how we became here. They like
Hmm.
jumped. And if you listen to Billy Carson's story about what happened on Mars too, he also said that there was a nuclear war that happened. So I'm like, okay, all of you guys are saying this independently. There must be something here. We need to go check it out. And what the scientist said, to be fair, the dude that said like he's seeing that nuclear holocaust and stuff on Mars, he's like, it's not about like if you ask any archaeologist, you can't use radar scans. We need to send people there and we need to dig. Because if
Hmm.
we dig and we find something, that's how we'll know for sure.
Oh yeah, of
And that's his
course.
new mission, right? He's like, let's send people to Mars
Hmm.
to like actually do work because you can't rely on scans. We need to go see it.
Yeah.